Police Department is using its efforts and upping its efforts to bring in new recruits. KLTV7's J.D. Conti spoke with the Whitehouse Police Chief about this new incentive program.
On July 6th, the Whitehouse Police Department posted this on Facebook, an advertisement for their new lateral pay program. It incentivizes new officers based on the amount of prior experience they hold. The department is currently offering starting pay based on up to 7 years of other related work. The chief says that in a small town, experience matters more than you might think.
One of the disadvantages of bringing somebody on into the department that doesn't have any experience is they'll need to attend a police academy, and that can be 5 or 6 months before we're able to then get them into training. And that time delay can be difficult on departments, especially when you're a small department with 17 or 18 officers. That takes up a spot that's not working the street for 6 or 7 months.
The department is currently down 3 positions out of its 18 total. Robeson says it's been an issue for several years. The department is also providing recruits with all their equipment, something Chief Robeson says isn't a guarantee everywhere.
Sometimes officers will have to purchase their ballistic vest, and those can be anywhere from $500 and on up from there. Or you may have to purchase your handgun, and again, that's another $500 or $600 or more.
Robeson says he is seeing more qualified applicants, but at the end of the day, he just wants candidates who will best serve the community.
We are looking for officers that can come into potentially somebody's worst day of their life, come into that situation and help turn it around and make it into something positive.
J.D. Conti, KLTV 7 News.
To learn more or apply for a position, we've made it easy. Just click on the big red box at kltv.com, scroll down, you'll find a link, or you can scan the QR code in the corner of your screen.